Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about Los Angeles vaccine passports and also how this pertains to wherever you are. It seems like the momentum is going in the direction that this may be an issue that you're dealing with in the place where you live, especially if you live in a larger city and especially if you live in a blue state. Seems to be that for whatever reason, the Democrats are a lot more trending in the authoritarian direction at the moment, which is an interesting development. But I'm not going to get too deeply into that political polarization right now. I think regardless of where you stand politically, it's very important that we see this issue clearly. Because what it is it's a scary authoritarian measure that is being pushed through aggressively under the guise of safety, under the guise of public safety by governments and other forces that have been systematically taking our freedoms away since the beginning of this thing, now telling us that the only way that we can get out of it and the only way we can get back to our lives as normal is by complying with their mandatory experimental injection. So that's what's going on. That's the world we live in right now. So I'm sick of talking about this. I'm sick of thinking about this, but I really feel like it's super necessary that we don't let this just slip through as something that is like no, it's not like kids being required certain vaccinations to go to school. It's not like that at all, for a number of reasons. One of which is that those vaccinations at least have long-term safety records, and they have a fair amount of proof that they can and do harm to certain people. But with these new vaccinations, we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. We simply don't know. Those tests have not been done. So we are saying not only are you sort of socially pressured and encouraged to do this experiment on yourself, but you will not be allowed to participate in normal society. You might not even be allowed to shop for groceries if you don't submit to this experimental procedure. And really, my point is not about whether the vaccine works or whether it doesn't work. I think there's quite a lot of evidence that it is helpful for some people in certain ways, and there's also quite a lot of evidence that it does tremendous harm to some people. There's a lot in between. But yeah, I don't want to get wrapped up in the details about the vaccine. This is not meant to be an anti-vaccine talking point here either. I think it's important to understand that what this actually means goes beyond that argument, that polarizing argument. What this is it's one step closer to a complete surveillance system. It's one step closer to living in a show me your papers society. I mean, it is that. It's exactly that. And it's it's really funny that the same party that was telling us that voter ID laws are racist and they're the new Jim Crow is now telling us that everybody needs to show their identification in order to go anywhere. Is that racist? I don't know. I don't know, but it's certainly a really bad idea. So I want to read this thing that I wrote to the Los Angeles City Council. I want to encourage you to do the same thing if you live in Los Angeles or wherever you live. We need to speak to our local representatives about this stuff and let them know how horrible of an idea this is. So here's what I wrote. This message pertains to item 19. I am writing today because of my grave concern regarding vaccine passports in the city. This measure poses a serious threat to our most basic rights, including medical privacy and medical freedom. A person's medical records and their health choices are their own private business. At this point, anybody who desires a vaccine should have been able to get one. If they are working properly, they should be protecting the vulnerable population from death. And this is exactly what the numbers tell us. The idea that we are considering requiring an experimental injection to participate in society is completely insane. It will create a medical caste system. It will create a two-tiered society where the unvaccinated are cast out and villainized. We're already seeing this happen really aggressively, pushed by the mainstream media and the Democratic Party. People have many different legitimate reasons for not taking the shot, and excluding them from society is just plain wrong. For instance, we are completely ignoring scientifically proven natural immunity. The CDC even suggests that people do not take the vaccine for months after getting COVID. So are we going to exclude these people from society too? If the vaccine works, let it do its job and let the people get back to their lives. In addition to the moral obligations, this measure would have a hugely detrimental effect on small businesses. So many of these entrepreneurs have gone out of business because of unfair, unscientific COVID policies already. Now we are considering adding more headaches, more costs, and more restrictions to an already decimated essential, all caps, essential piece of our city. So stop suffocating the people, stop suffocating the city and our small businesses with these oppressive policies. This would be one of the worst public policy mistakes of our generation. I'll add to that. The other problem with this is that it doesn't end with this. If any of you think that this is just going to happen with this one vaccination, and then these systems of control and surveillance are just going to simply disappear and never be used again, you're lying to yourself. That's not what's going to be happening here. There's going to be booster shots. There's going to be more requirements. There's going to be more functionality loaded into these apps. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, social credit score. That's what we're moving towards here. I know it seems hyperbolic. It seems like something that the West, especially the United States, should be completely allergic to. However, I would have thought that about a lot of the policies and the restrictions that we have implemented over the past year and a half. And I've been surprised again and again and again by the desire for fear-based totalitarian policies. So this is scary, people. This is really a weird dystopian society that we're moving towards if we allow these measures to continue going forward. We must stop them in their tracks. We must not comply. And that's it. For the record, I'm not suggesting that we should be reckless or have disregard for other people's safety. Not at all. But I'm also suggesting that this is absolutely a matter of public safety, and our very freedoms and rights are clearly and aggressively being taken away. So we must stand up. We must speak out. We can't let it happen. So again, my call to action here is to speak to your city council members, speak to your local representatives, because they're the only people who are going to be able to have any, and the only people who you're really going to be able to get in contact with. I do believe also speaking to our national representatives is an important step to take, but the local politics, the step of local politics, I believe is the area where we can have the most influence. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to get back to my preferred subjects of speaking about art and spiritual metaphysical concepts. So let's get back to focusing on love, shall we? Seems a lot healthier than this constant, never-ending fear and propaganda that we're being bombarded with at the moment. All right. Peace, everybody. Honey.